G'day ladies and gentlemen, Aussie SC here, bringing you some more IEM World Championship action. This time we are going to cast the second game from the series of EG's Jaedong versus teammate from Evil Genius JYP. So going to be a Zerg vs Protoss game here on the map Heavy Rain. And the reason we wanted to cast another game from the series, if you haven't seen the other game that we cast, it was a bit of a crack up. Both players just going for all sorts of shenanigans, from proxy hatcheries to cannon rushing each other. It was just everything that is fun about the Zerg vs Protoss matchup. So going to bring you another game from this series, and there'll be plenty more to come right after this. So I've actually got a 3-day weekend, folks, so we'll be casting plenty of IEM World Championship action. If you enjoyed it, if there's any games in particular that you did like, by all means please let us know. I'd be happy to cast them. I have a whole list of games here that I saw with just crack up, either hilarious or just awesome StarCraft 2 play from these well, naturally Grandmaster level players. So got a whole bunch of StarCraft 2 that I'd like to cast. If there's anything you'd like to see cast, by all means please let us know. Also tonight we'll be hosting our first community sort of fun event. It won't be a tournament, but it will be a series of amusing games. We are going to get together, play some mono battles, maybe some Imber League and some other sorts of fun or arcade style games, maybe a free-for-all or two, depending on how many people come. So if you guys would like to participate in those sort of shenanigans, maybe take a break from laddering and have a bit of fun, join us on Facebook. We organise a lot of it there, and you'll get a notification whenever we're going to do it. So if you would like to join in that sort of thing, have your own fun and games cast on the channel, by all means join us on Facebook, and we'd be happy to play with you anytime. Looks like JYP is going to go Nexus first against Jaedong. If there's something that actually shocks me a little bit about JYP's playstyle, it is his willingness to go Nexus first on small maps against someone as aggressive and with as awesome a micro as Jaedong has. Jaedong, well known for his Zergling micro, it's some of the best in the game, as is demonstrated every time he's managed to break into someone's base. He's killed 10, 12, 14, 15 odd workers with just a few Zerglings. So something you've always got to be on the lookout for. It looks like Jaedong may actually wall off his main base here. It's probably not a bad decision based on the fact that he has gone Nexus first, and it will be a little bit difficult to wall this off in time. Jaedong does have a spawning pool up. There won't actually be any gas just yet, as he's gone for a gasless opening, so Zergling speed's still a ways away, but the potential to flood quite a lot of Zerglings very quickly. The gateway's finishing up now. Cybernetics core will also go down, and the timing of this isn't perhaps as risky as it could be. Jaedong could have built more Zerglings than this earlier, but JYP did scout and threw down his Nexus, knowing that by the time 2 or 3 Zerglings can damage it, Mothership core should be out and he can probably defend it using the core. But if you don't scout adequately and go for that sort of Nexus first build, it is a recipe for disaster. You'll find yourself flooded with Zerglings or Speedlings so quickly your head will spin. So it looks like Jaedong just actually very content to drone up here, just both queens injecting, producing nothing but drones. A few Zerglings were scouting around the map earlier, and they remain in play, just looking for any potential Protoss move outs or proxy pylons. They did clean up one worker here by the 3rd base just a moment ago, and Jaedong fairly content as he's actually got a nice scout. There's a nice position for the Overlord above the high ground here. I wonder if the other player can actually see that shadow. If we look at... oh no, he can't see it. So JYP can't see the Overlord shadow. That would have been an amusing sort of giveaway. You learn new things every day. So Jaedong can see that and we can see it. But JYP not actually aware as of yet that that Overlord's up there. I imagine when the Mothership core makes its way out that JYP will become aware of it. Well, looks like I've disconnected from the net somehow. Good thing we're not streaming. But JYP throwing down a Forge and a second gateway, but not actually producing a lot of units as of yet. But looks like the tech of choice is actually going to be a Stargate this time, so not the Dark Shrine shenanigans we saw in a previous game. Oracle actually coming up first from JYP. I like this choice out of JYP. Not a lot of Protoss players do this versus Zerg. Things like the Queens deter players, particularly at a low level, but microed well. The Oracle has potential to do massive damage. It does kill drones every second and a bit. It's something like a second and a half for each drone kill. So just a few seconds and an oracle or two can actually wipe out your mineral line. So need to be super careful. There's no spore crawlers or anything in play. Jaedong content to try and defend with his queens at the moment. We'll see if that is in fact sufficient. We have an oracle moving out, actually followed up by Void Ray. So looks like JYP is going for an older style build. We did see a little bit of this, it's probably 6 or 8 months ago now. This used to be quite popular. We'll see just how heavy a committal it is for JYP into Void Rays. There was a lot of Protoss players. They went through a stage where they would use an oracle to wipe out a worker, and as we see, he's already got 4 workers killed. Oracle probably could have backed out a little bit earlier than that. Did take a bit of unnecessary damage there, and did get 4 workers killed, which is almost an even trade-off, though. You microed a little bit better, could have potentially got 5 or 6 kills, or even 3 or 4 kills and survived. Always better to keep the unit alive than to overcommit and lose it. The oracle can be very useful later for either further harass or throwing its revelation ability down. So there are plenty of uses for keeping it alive, and players that have tended to do that, it tends to always come in useful later on. But unfortunately JYP is going down. Though probably providential that it did get lost, as it probably sell Jaedong just a little bit more down the path that he is in fact going for air. And these 2 Void Rays, if JYP can wave them in front of Jaedong, should force a Hydralisk reaction. As we can see, JYP already throwing down the Robo facility, so probably planning to transition into Colossi quick enough to capitalise on any Hydralisk that Jaedong decides to build in reaction to these. We can see they're actually moving around the field. There's a little bit of a waving sort of the red flag in front of a bull. This is JYP saying, hey, I have some Void Rays, I could easily build a few more. You ought to build some Hydralisks, and you better do it quick, as 2 or 3 Void Rays can and will just destroy buildings. And you can see this hatchery already forcing the cancel there. So Void Rays doing nice work there. And that's going to be a sufficient enough threat for Jaedong to have to deal with. Actually throwing down an infestation pit, and we do know that Jaedong loves to go swarm host on this map. Swarm hosts tend to do a lot of damage. It's very difficult for Protoss to attack because there's only 2 or 3 main attack paths, so cleverly defended and protected against warp prisms, swarm hosts can just do massive damage to a Protoss army. So Jaedong looks like he will go for a similar sort of approach this game. We do see a lot of roaches and zerglings. You do need to get something in play before you go for the swarm host. Going straight for them will get you wiped out every time. Jaedong's queens here just trying to force these Void Rays away. Actually almost taking one of the Void Rays out. Unfortunately hatchery did take a lot of damage there. Potential for it to be sniped later on. We do see the Robo Bay already up and an Immortal on the way. I imagine some Colossi are going to be coming up right behind this. And Jaedong just not taking the bait. I think he knows there's a feign. There's no Hydralisk den down, just more roaches and zerglings. So the Void Ray is going to do so much damage against the armoured roaches. These roaches getting pinned in by the force fields, and a lot of those roaches going down prematurely. So JYP's Void Ray is certainly doing a lot of work there. Six kills already between them, but a massive Zergling counterattack on the left-hand side. And is the gateway open? It is open. The Immortal. Oh, there's a choice between a rock and a hard place. Does the Immortal try to block the door, or does it try and save itself? Unfortunately, it does neither, as JYP a little preoccupied. So the Immortal goes down. We have Zerglings in both mineral lines. There's a massive worker. The mass recall is going to bring his army back in. JYP trying to conserve as many workers as he can, but Jaedong just doing massive damage. 17 workers killed there between the main and the natural, and more going down. We're up to 19 workers killed. There's phenomenal damage. A Colossi spawning right in the heart of this is going to force a lot of these Zerglings back, but not before the Zerglings do massive damage to the Stalkers. So Jaedong there getting a massive economic and army advantage over his opponent, clearing out so many workers. We see it's 53 workers to 77, so big difference here. Good thing the third base remained fairly protected from that, though. Jaedong following this up with a muta tech switch, and this just could be it here for JYP. He's got a few Stalkers in play, but almost losing Blink there. Luckily for JYP, that finishing up moments before that pylon goes down. Few Stalkers do the Stalkers take out a few Mutalisks, but there's still plenty there. 17 Mutas is a substantial amount, more than enough to threaten most of these bases. One cannon just not going to be enough to hold these off, and we see Jaedong just making a beeline for that natural expansion. The mothership core actually going to get picked off here, so photon overcharge will keep this expansion safe for 30 or 40 seconds, but real question is, how does JYP follow this up? I have a feeling Mutas, unfortunately, going to make their way over to those Void Rays. Void Rays broadcasting their presence by attacking the Roaches. We see Jaedong swooping in here. The Void Rays will go down, so that commitment to air going to fade very quickly. You see 2 Stargates being thrown down, so JYP not faking anymore. He's going balls to the wall with Phoenix production. 2 here, but unfortunately, oh, he is on top of the micro, keeping those Phoenix alive. Stalker's here to help force the Mutalisk back, but the Mutalisk cloud is growing and growing. We're up to 24 Mutalisk, I believe. No, 28 now, more popping out as we go. Another 4 on the way, so 32 Mutalisk is insane Mutalisk production. 3 Phoenix at a time being chrono boosted out for JYP, but will it be enough? We have this massive group of Zerglings and Roaches moving their way in. The potential for a swarm host transition behind us, so it's a fight between a rock and a hard place, and the third base does go down. Bad news for JYP. Potential here for Jaedong to just go for it, and he could snipe this Colossus. Indeed, the Colossus will go down. These Zerglings just continuing to go to town on the Protoss units. There's enough Mutas here to just focus down the Stalkers, and these Phoenix are doing a lot of work, but it's too little too late. And JYP forced to GG out of another game as Jaedong just moves in for the kill. What a game from both these players. An interesting choice from JYP. I do like this style of play, the mind games, trying to fake your opponent into producing unnecessary Hydralisks and then exploit it with the Colossi. Very popular build back in the day, not something we've seen a lot of lately. I have to give props to JYP for trying. Unfortunately, Jaedong obviously aware that JYP likes to do it. These two practice together all the time, and Jaedong managing to throw a few tech switches in and really knock JYP off balance. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Plenty more coming up right after this, so by all means, if this is your first time on the channel, we'd love to see you in the future. Go ahead and subscribe. You'll see the button either on the video or beside it, and we'd love to see you in future videos. Plenty more IEM action coming up right after this, so tune in. We'll see you then.